Thank you. This presentation naturally follows that of my colleague, Lily Garcia, since the work I'm doing wouldn't be possible without the excellent foundation that she's established between UCSB researchers and the partners in the community. Lily touched on some of the exciting things happening at Harding. This is a photo of our team, including Dean Milam, welcoming our new SB Unified Superintendent, Hilda Maldonado, to the West Side. The Community Resource Project that I'll be focusing on this evening is an extension of the important work that GGSE has been doing there. Next slide, please. Santa Barbara's West Side community, where Harding is located, is a unique neighborhood, but it faces some familiar problems. For tonight, when talking about the West Side, I'm talking about the area shown on this map, which includes 2,772 households with almost 10,000 residents. This area includes densely populated apartment complexes, many with a high rate of poverty and food insecurity. It also includes single-family homes, some of which have been owned by the same families for decades. As rents and property values rise, there is concern about gentrification. These differences can be a source of tension at times, but they also provide a rich mix of cultural and economic resources. I use the term ripples and brackets as a title for this talk because it reflects our intention for the center, that the positive impacts will ripple out from the school into the community, while providing brackets that help support families and neighbors, strengthening our neighborhood for all its residents. Next slide, please. So as background, for more than a decade, GGSE has had a presence at Harding, as has been mentioned. And during the past 4 years, this partnership has grown especially strong thanks to the leadership and shared commitment of Dean Milam and Harding Principal Veronica Binkley. It's been a win-win partnership that has benefited our emerging educators through the UCSB Teacher Education Program and School Psychology Program, as well as benefiting Harding students and teachers. In previous years, young scholars from Harding have had an annual visit to UCSB, as one of our goals is to encourage these young students, many with immigrant parents, to think of themselves as scholars and future graduates. The fact is that Harding's students face immense challenges. Almost half are English language learners. 82% are economically disadvantaged, and 23% identify as homeless. Fortunately, many community partners have recognized the needs of these students and their families. So I'd like to acknowledge the leadership of Landon Rank and Rich Sanders' SB Act and members of the West Side Health Collaborative that we're involved with, working together to share our commitment to initiate new programs on the West Side. The idea of school-based interventions is not new. Early research by community psychologist Nicholas Hobbs established the benefits and improved outcomes when both students and their parents were given help with addressing challenges. Jeffrey Canada's work through the Harlem Children's Zone is another great example. And locally, we have models in the partnerships at Franklin Elementary School and Carpinteria Children's Project. These programs have been extremely successful in providing more stability and support for students and their families. And these groups have been very generous in sharing what they have learned with our team. Next slide, please. With these models in mind, the Harding Community Resource Center hopes to expand the supports currently available to students and their families to all residents of the West Side, encouraging a community that is healthier, more resilient, and more integrated. Next slide, please. The center will include services and programming for families with infants, adults without children, senior citizens, and others, as well as existing Harding students and their families. You can see here in the yellow rectangle the building on Gillespie that was historically owned by Parks and Rec before being transferred to the district. It's currently being used by AOK, which will be rehoused. Next slide, please. The center will operate using a collective impact model, in which service providers mutually support and complement their individual efforts to serve community needs more effectively. Potential community partners might include health and dental services, immigration services, housing support, wellness service providers, as well as parks and recreation, and of course, the Santa Barbara Public Library. UCSB is taking a lead in organizing, but it's the community and our partner service providers who will be guiding this project forward. As we develop surveys and interview protocols to help us rank community needs and prioritize services, our project team is consulting with our colleague, Dr. Tarek Azam, the director of the Center for Evaluation and Assessment, and you'll hear from him soon. The first phase of this initiative is already underway. Services are being provided through the Family Resource Center at Harding. We'll be strengthening our communication channels with households on the West Side beyond the families at Harding, using newsletters and social media in both English and Spanish. The next phase will include some mandatory seismic updates and interior renovations of the existing building. And we hope to begin this process this fall. Renovations on Santa Barbara Unified properties need to be approved by the State Board of Architects, so that's something out of our control. But during that renovation process, our team will be conducting surveys in the community to develop and refine the services that will be available at the center. And as soon as possible, we hope to open the center as a service hub. The space will be designed to be flexible. It will be available for community groups too, addiction recovery, knitting, poetry, whatever is needed. While GGSE will coordinate users at first, our goal is to establish a board of community members to oversee the site. Throughout this project, researchers from the Gevirtz School will be documenting and researching the impacts of the programs at the center on the young students at Harding and the community that surrounds them. Our belief is that healthier, more secure communities will support better educational outcomes for students. And this project would not be possible without the early support of the J.S. Bauer Foundation, especially John Clark, as well as Partners in Education, the Santa Barbara Education Foundation, and the City of Santa Barbara. Like her predecessor, Carrie Matsuoka, SB Unified Superintendent Hilda Maldonado has embraced this initiative, and we are grateful for this support. Next slide, please. In summary, we are excited for this project and this opportunity to help establish a model for strong school-based community services, one that creates both ripples and brackets. We hope that the results of our research will inspire similar projects. I'm including my email here and welcome any community partners who might be interested in joining us to contact me. And of course, we would welcome additional philanthropic support. Thank you very much.